Hi, and welcome back to this week's Parsha Shir on Sefer Netivot Shalom. We started last week, the first week, studying the wonderful Sefer of Rav Shalom Noach Berezovsky, the Slonim Rebbe. We'll continue this week with one of the essays that the Slonim Rebbe has on Parshas Chayei Sara. Towards the end of Parshas Chayei Sara, Hashem gives this overall perspective about Avram's life, and it says, "V'Avraham zakein ba bayamim." Avraham was already old, and he was ba bayamim. He was on in days. Vashem berach es Avraham bakol, and God blessed Avraham with kol, with everything. Chazal, of course, quoted here by Rashi, says bakol means with a son. It's the same gematria as Ben. That's what he blessed him with. The story goes on to say how Avram really took this blessing to heart. He cared for his son Yitzchak so much that he sends Eliezer to find him a wife, and that's how the whole match is made between Rivka and Yitzchak, which is the story that's told in the rest of the Parsha. The Slonim Rebbe focuses himself on primarily on this pasuk and some of the oddities of the language of the pasuk. He says, Avraham zakein ba bayamim. Avraham was older already. He was on in years. Hinei lashon ba bayamim lo matzino b'Torah ela al Avraham Avinu. We don't find this language of ba bayamim, on in days, in the Torah at all in reference to any of the avos or imahos. V'yesh lahavin ma mosif ba'omra ba bayamim. And it's not altogether clear, aside from being unique, it's not altogether clear what exactly it's adding to the definition of Avram's life. If he's old, of course he's on in years, of course he's on in days. Halok farnema zakein v'chol zakein ba bayamim. Everyone who's old is also on in years. So what is the Torah adding with this description? K'mo chen v'hi kizekan Yitzchak. When Yitzchak gets old, it says he got old. Kizakan Yitzchak, when he gets old. It doesn't say Kizakan Yitzchak ba bayamim, when Yitzchak was old and on in years. In fact, not only is the beginning of the pasuk unique, but the end is also unique. With none of the other avos or imos does it ever say, and Hashem blessed them bakol, with everything. So twofold question here. Number one, what is ba bayamim? And number two, what is the berachas Avraham bakol supposed to imply? Thirdly, we find the special nature of Avram already spelled out in the beginning of Parshas Lech Lecha, and the promise of going to the land of Israel. Hashem says, and you will be a blessing. There's some blessing, not just in the end of Avraham's life, where Hashem blesses him, bakol, but even at the beginning of Avram's journey, Hashem already implants within him this status of bracha. Veheyei bracha, you will be a bracha. And Chazal interpret that level of bracha associated with Avram Avinu as follows. In Bereishis Rabbah it says, Amru alzeh, kol hanogea ba'Avram Avinu misparech, v'chol haroas Avram Avinu misparech. Anyone who touched Avram was blessed. Anyone who looked at Avram was blessed. Anyone who did business with Avram was blessed. The Chayei bracha was not just a blessing to him, but a blessing that was so overpowering that it kind of spilled over into everyone he touched, everyone he interacted with. We have to analyze the status of bracha, the status of ba bayamim, specifically by Avraham, those two aspects of his life, and why it was so unique to him in specific that the Torah gives him these details, these characteristics. So really, the Slonim Rebbe is asking three questions. What's the definition of ba bayamim? What is it adding? Number two, what does it mean that he was blessed bakol? And number three, why is his whole life defined by bracha? V'heyei bracha, bracha Avraham bakol. Why is it all defined by bracha? So he answers the first question first. What is ba bayamim? Yesh lomar, the pasuk v'Avraham zakein ba bayamim mechaven al midaso shel Avram Avinu midas hachesed. The end of the pasuk, Avraham zakein means he was old. He was old. He was advanced in years. The end of the pasuk, which says ba bayamim, is a reference not just to the years of Abraham's life, but specifically to the midah, the characteristic, the quality, the trait that he embodied, which was the trait of chesed. Shaleh ahaneh amar ba bayamim. About the trait of chesed, the Torah says it was ba bayamim. It was on in years, on in days. V'inyano behektem ma'amar maran harav hakadosh mikobrin zchuso yagen aleinu. He says we can understand this based on the great Rebbe of Kobrin, where he says, the yom sheyehudi eina oseh bo chesed lo nechshav ki yom b'chayav. Very powerful statement by the Kobriner Rebbe. He says that any day that a Jew doesn't do chesed is not considered to be a day of his life. Kim merumaz b'mamar kasov. It's hinted to already the pasuk in Tehillim, Parak Nun Bet, which says chesed el kol hayom. It says the chesed of God is every day. Shebechol yom tzarich Yehudi la'asot ma'aseh chesed. Every single day, a Jew has to perform an act of chesed. V'im lav eino begeder yom. And if he doesn't, or she doesn't, then that day of their lives is not considered to be a day. It's not considered to be a day that they've lived. V'yesh levar godol dargata shel midas hachesed. We have to really realize how incredibly powerful a statement this is about the midah of chesed. Why is it that this level of power exists only by the midah of chesed, wherein it doesn't exist by any other trait? A person can spend the entire day on Torah and Masim Tovim of different kinds, on mitzvos of all kinds, and yet the day will not be considered to be a day of life had the person not performed an act of chesed. That is a statement about chesed that makes it totally different, totally unique, and completely powerful as a trait more than any other mitzvah, any other Torah learning, which are usually considered to be the most important building blocks of a person's life. The reason for all that, he says, is mishum shemidas chesed hu ki dichtiv ki amarti olam chesed yibaneh. Similar to the Mama we read last week from Netivot Shalom, that the whole world was created upon chesed. Hashem embedded chesed into the DNA of creation. Binyan ha'olam kulo al yedei midas chesed. Shakadosh Baruch Hu baras kol habriya b'midas chesed. V'chol kiyuma shel habriya v'chol kiyum hamin hu b'midas hachesed she'olam chesed yibaneh. Because God created the world through chesed, God put into the mechanism of the survival of a world that every day there had to be chesed. And therefore, if you don't perform a chesed on a given day, it's considered as if you haven't lived that day. You haven't constructed the world that day. You haven't contributed to the world that day. There are a number of different outcomes to this statement, to this concept, he says. Number one, Hinei briyas ha'olam mischadeshes b'chol yom v'yom. We don't believe that creation was a one-time event. We say that Hashem is v'chadesh b'tuv b'chol yom tavi ma'aseh b'reishis. He continues to recreate the world every day. Ve'olam chesed yibaneh, and the principle of the world being constructed or created through chesed therefore exists every single day. Kashem shebetchila nivra kol habriya b'midas chesed. Just like in the original creation, the world was created through chesed. Kmochen ma'aseh b'reishis hamischadesh b'chol yom hu al yedei midas chesed. The recreation of the world every day is also through the trait of chesed. Ubazeh yispar ha'inyan sheyom sheyehudi lo asa bo chesed eno chshav lo yom b'chayim. Therefore, we understand that every day a Jew doesn't perform chesed is not considered to be a day of life, because life and creation necessitates chesed, not just in the original creation, but in the recreation, where we partner with God every single day to recreate the world. If we hadn't added our midah of chesed, then the creation of that day is incomplete. It is not a complete day. It's not a day that you have lived as an individual. Ki kol binyan ha'olam mushtas al chesed. Every piece of the creation and sustaining of the world is based on chesed. Ve'amechadesh b'tuv b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh b'reishis hu yadim midas chesed. V'im kein tzarich Yehudi b'chol yom tamid la'orer midas chesed. We have to arouse within ourselves every single day the trait of chesed. Ki anu zukukim b'chol yom l'chesed min hashamayim. Because after all, when God creates every day, we're hoping He creates with chesed. We require the chesed that Hashem gives us every day. B'machal, b'mishtev, b'chol shar inyanim. We need it with our food. We need it with our well-being. We need it with our sustenance. We need it with our drink. We need every aspect of chesed that Hashem is going to give us. Shekulam hem me'amshachas chesed Hashem. Every chesed that we have in the world emanates from the chesed that Hashem implants in the world that day. V'iminata miyehudi shefa chesed iyumuta ke'evan she'en lo hofchin. If the chesed aspect that we are given every day in the world was eliminated, we would be like inanimate objects. We wouldn't be able to function. We wouldn't be able to survive. Hashem mimics our actions. Every day that we do chesed, Hashem provides more chesed. And by each of us contributing our chesed, we complete the recreation of the world every single day. Only by partnering and both of us contributing chesed do we create the underpinnings, the foundation, the solid basis of creation, of the creation of that specific day. Therefore, a day when we don't do chesed means that Hashem's creation is going to lack chesed, which means that the day wasn't fully created, the day wasn't fully lived. Because it will lack the ability, the inroads, the pathways for creation to fully fill that particular day. There is a void on that day, and therefore it's as if a day that you didn't live. Avram's midah was chesed. So when the Torah tells us that he's old, he's not only old, but he's Baba Yamim. He had a lot of days of complete creation, because each day of his life he contributed chesed, Hashem contributed back, and together they created many, many days. He was Baba Yamim. Not only were his days full in terms of him getting old, but his days were complete, his days were filled, his days were successful in terms of the aspect of creation that he was able to effectuate by bringing the midah of chesed into the world. A second outcome of this concept of the Rebbe Mikobrin is another idea. He says every day a Jew is required to fulfill at least one mitzvah b'shleimusa. Not every mitzvah b'shleimusa in its complete form, but at least one mitzvah b'shleimusa. Ve'inyan zeh miskayim b'masa ha'chesed. Sheka'amor yesh bo shleimus gabim nasa b'pnios. ולכן צריך לעשות בכל יום חסד שעל ידי זה מסקיים לכל הפחוס מצוות אחת בשלמות. He says every time we perform a mitzvah, we have some ulterior motives. There's always a self-serving element to every mitzvah we perform. Even if we try to do it in the most altruistic fashion, there's some self-serving aspect to it. With chesed, it's unique in this way, says the Rebbe Mikobrin, echoed again by the Slonim Rebbe. When you perform chesed, it doesn't matter whether there are other ulterior motives there. As long as the person you're doing chesed for benefits from the chesed, then you have completed the act of chesed in the most complete fashion, with no taints to it, with no deficiencies to it, despite your own personal interest in that act of chesed. Unlike every other mitzvah, where the more you have a personal vested interest in it, the more you have an ulterior motive, the more it detracts from the shleimus of the act. By chesed, that's not true. So if every day we're required not only to build the world through chesed, to help God recreate the world through chesed, but every day we're required to at least perform one mitzvah b'shleimusa, chesed is our easy avenue. The moment you've performed chesed, you've automatically performed it b'shleimus, which means you've automatically fulfilled your mandate of one mitzvah b'shleimus a day. A third outcome, we have a requirement every day u'ledav kabo, to emulate the traits of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When the Gemara talks about emulating the traits of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it specifically says, Mahu rachum af ata rachum. The main trait pointed to that we are supposed to emulate of Hashem is the trait of chesed, the trait of rachmanus, the trait of compassion, the trait of loving kindness. And therefore, if we perform chesed every day, not only are we creating the world, not only do we have a check mark on mitzvah b'shleimusa, but we've also fulfilled our mandate of emulating HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the most complete in the most perfect fashion. So we understand the importance of chesed. We understand the meaning of Baba Yamim. It was a descriptor of Avram's chesed and the extent to which it went to fill the world every single day with creation of chesed. And we also understand the answer to the other two questions. V'gam ze inyan v'heyei bracha. The beginning of Avram's life, which also says that he should be filled with blessing, also is explained by this concept of Avram being filled with chesed. Said specifically by Avram, as the Medrash says, that Vayei Bracha means that everyone who touched him, everyone who looked at him, everyone who came in contact with him was blessed. Ki olam chesed yibaneh. The reason for that is because the world is created through chesed. V'chesed hu mekor habracha. Chesed is the root of all blessing able to enter the world. Since Avram was at the highest level of giving of chesed, therefore the chesed impact that he had was maximal. Because he contributed, he was so filled with chesed, he was able to give so much chesed as well. In any way that he touched other people, communicated with other people, he automatically had a hashpa. He automatically had an influence and an outpouring of chesed as well, of bracha as well, which is rooted in the chesed that he was able to give. Just like the opposite is true. If a person has a disease, Rahman al-Litzlan, he says anybody who comes close is nizok. He gets afflicted by the disease. So with a midah tova, with a positive trait, kal vachomer, you come close to a sick person, God forbid, and you get infected by their disease. When you come close to a blessed person, you become infected by their blessing. Avram was filled with chesed. Chesed is the root of bracha. Therefore, v'heyei bracha, anyone who came in contact with him automatically became blessed as well because they became a beneficiary of his chesed. And chesed is the root of all bracha. Finally, the last piece of this puzzle, the last question of the Shalom Rebbe, is why does it say Zakein Baba Hashem Beirachas Avraham Bakol? He blessed him with everything. Unique statement not existing by the other avos. He says Sha'ayidei HaChesed Mamshich Bracha Bechol Ha'inyanim Hagashmim V'Haruchanim. Bakol means God blessed him in a physical manner with physical wealth and well-being, and with spiritual wealth and well-being. And the only person able to achieve that is a person who is filled with the midah of chesed, because chesed is something that allows for God to pour in all the benefits of spiritual success and physical success into the same person. Other avos had different traits. Other imahus had different traits. And each of those traits at different moments perhaps was able to contribute to their spiritual success, to their physical success, but chesed was the all-encompassing one that allowed Avraham at once to be blessed bakol, to be blessed in both ways simultaneously, because chesed is the pipeline into this world for all blessing, spiritual blessing and physical blessing. The idea that we're supposed to take away from this, says the Shalom Rebbe, Ki Yehudi haoseh chesed, u'bimiuchad im zeh l'shem shamayim. Any person, any Jew who performs acts of chesed every single day, especially if he's doing it or she's doing it for the right reasons, for pure altruistic reasons, zoche levehayei bracha and Hashem berachas Avram bakol. You become a beneficiary of Avram's blessing, of bakol, that through you will be able to achieve both spiritual blessing and physical blessing. Shenichla bazeh gam berachas ruchnios ve'od inyanim she'eina b'rishusa shel adam. Ki midas hachesed hi mekor habracha bechol ha'inyanim hagashmim ve'aruchnim. Because chesed is the pipeline for all blessing. So as we tap into that midah of chesed of Avraham, we continue to construct the world every day, to partner with God in creating the world every day. We continue to have the check mark of mitzvah b'shleimus every day. We continue to have the check mark of v'ledav kabo, cleaving to God and emulating God every day. And we become filled with all the blessings, spiritual and physical, because chesed is the pipeline for that. Hopefully we should be successful in all of our endeavors in emulating both Hashem and also in this particular way Avraham Avinu, being able to be zocha, to be able to merit Baba Yamim, filled days where we've accomplished the creation as it is supposed to be. Shabbat Shalom.